Hello, welcome to another edition of Small Town Big Life podcast. Taylor and Chuck are with us today, friends and church members. It's interesting. We're going to talk about grilling, smoking, food, summer food, but mostly anything that involves meat and fire. So that's how we're starting out today. It should be a lot of fun. All right, let's get rolling right now. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, how we doing tonight?
I've never been as happy as I am right now. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So
Food.
I've been to your house, and you put out quite a spread with your smoker.
I always overcook. No matter what I'm doing, I cook way more food than I absolutely need.
Yeah,
I love that.
We eat it for like 4 days.
My wife does that. How about you, Taylor? How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
Yeah. I think anybody watching the podcast that's not listening to it can tell by our figures that we're guys that like grilling. Yeah. So I think that's pretty self-evident.
Yeah.
But Jackie, you told me you are a pit master or smoker. You do smoke.
I am a smoker, which sounds really strange.
It does sound weird. I know.
Because I don't smoke cigarettes. But we smoke meat and we smoke cheese. So I brought some cheese for the guys to nibble on tonight, some Cooper.
Yes.
It's really, really good.
I've never had this. I don't even know what cheese family it's in, but good.
But yeah, I love experimenting with meats and different rubs and different sauces, all that stuff. So yeah. Taylor, what are you into? What do you like doing? What's your thing?
I really do want to get into smoking and everything like that because I don't know. I think it's really cool. And I love. I mostly grill and whatever, but like I love doing that and cooking in general. But I'd love to invest in some type of nice smoker someday. And I hunt too, so doing that with jerky and any type of venison and stuff like that. So pretty cool.
What's your main thing on the grill? Like when somebody says grill, what food do you think of? When I get home, I'm making this. Like a lot of guys have their one thing. This is number one, and if I don't have this, then we'll explore 2, 3, and 4. So what's your
What's your jam?
Probably like some type of steak, really. Whether it is venison or beef, but yeah, that's probably my go-to. And then burgers, and then chicken.
Venison and beef are on the same level for you?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. Kinda. Okay.
I kind of like venison a little bit more actually, but
I guess it depends on how. I grew up in the woods and everyone hunted. So the people that hunted always had boxes and boxes of deer meat. And they're like, so we got it for free all the time. And I thought, well, I appreciate it and I eat it and it's good. But I'm like, it's not as good as steer. If it was, they would farm them and raise them and sell them in the grocery stores. But it is good and it was free. And
They do now.
Deer, do they?
You can buy venison in the grocery store.
Well, it's just not as largely available as beef. And I'm not. Look, deer hunting and deer is good. I grew up eating it, still like it. I think it's a notch below beef, but that's me. And I didn't cook it enough to. I know some guys really know how to make it pop.
I think at my household, growing up, we ate more venison than burger.
Really? Well,
probably.
If you grew up on it, you probably do have a taste for it. What about you? What's your go-to thing? Like, this is my number one thing I want to make on the grill or smoker for you, right? Yeah.
Burgers or sausage?
Simple.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Burgers on the grill or sausage in the smoker.
Simple.
Now, what are you making into sausage? Is it pork sausage?
Yeah, usually pork.
Okay.
Just buy it from the grocery store and just
Throw it on there.
throw it in the smoker. Turn the smoker on. Put the chips in. Fire it up. Go.
Let it go.
Like 2 hours. Dinner's ready.
Nice.
What's your go-to thing, Jack?
Well, believe it or not, we actually my husband and I got into smoking things because of a dude that's our buddy who, just like you said, constantly has venison. He gets deer. I mean, every single day of hunting, he gets a deer. And he had made his own venison sticks, like beef sticks, but they were venison. And he smoked them himself, and he flavored them himself, and he had a whole cooler of them, and they were so good.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, where did you get this? And he said, you can't get that. You got to make it. And then, like, the little light bulb went on. Ding-ding-ding-ding. That, we could get experimental.
What do I need?
Yeah, with some stuff.
What do I need and what's this going to cost?
Yeah. But, like, my personal jam is ribs.
Yeah.
I throw some ribs in the smoker, low and slow, and then, when they get to a certain temp, sauce them up and foil them up, and then they just fall off the bone.
Yeah.
That's my jam.
That's what got me into it was my brother made ribs.
Yeah?
We went out to Montana to visit, and he made ribs one night for dinner. It was like, yeah, I got to figure out how to do this.
While we're on the topic, ribs are so universally prepared different.
Yes.
There are so many ways
Oh, yeah.
to cook. Do you do ribs?
I have once or twice, yeah.
Were you happy with the outcome?
Yeah.
Well, I think
it was all right, but I mean, it was on the grill when I did it, but I have smoked on the grill. Like you can do like little foil packs or whatever, and you can even buy like a container thing that you just throw on the grill with wood chips or stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was okay. I've had better.
Yeah, and that's why I asked, because many moons ago I was insanely frustrated that I wasn't able to come out with what I thought was satisfactory ribs, and I was explained to how to do it by an interesting source, but how to cook and prepare and grill ribs. And now when I make them, people want me to tell them how I do it. And so now but there were many years that it was so bad that I'm like, you know what, I'm done. And then I tried, and I'm like, what? How can people make these good? And I think it should be a felony to put ribs in a crock pot. And with all that water and at the bottom, and the juice separates and it turns into like meat pudding, and it's gross.
Like the layer of grease.
Well, when I was a kid, yeah, that's, grilling wasn't big. So my grandparents and aunts and uncles and people like that, we're having ribs in the crock pot. And I'm like, oh, and then I go, gross. And then I thought, I'm never eating ribs again. And I didn't know they could actually taste good until I got older. What about you with ribs?
I'm still working on mine. I haven't quite got it where I want it.
Yeah.
I either overcook it or undercook it.
When you hit your sweet spot, it's like, I don't know, it's an amazing moment. Have you hit your sweet spot with ribs?
Not yet. No, I've screwed up a lot more ribs than I've put them in for too long, and then like the sugars
dry out.
Yeah, they dry out, or the sugar gets hard on the top, and then
I got this. Okay. I used to work for this. I worked in property management for a long time, and I had this lady that did grounds for me with this super expensive property. And I said, "Who's my groundskeeper?" And they said, "Rosie." Her name's Rosie. I'm expecting some big burly hand woman with a hand you could strike a match on. And she's tiny, and she's real soft spoken. She goes, "Hi, I'm Rosie," and I'm like, "You're the groundskeeper?" Because this is hard work, post holes and all kinds of moving boulders with a bobcat, and she crushed it. She's the hardest working person like I'd ever met in my life. and I got to know her a little bit, and she was like, her and her husband have Indian heritage, and she was always telling me about Indian stuff, and I said, I mean, I do too, but I just don't know any of that. And ribs came up one day, and she unlocked it for me. She's like, she goes, "Oh, you don't know how to prepare ribs?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Here's how you do it." And she explained it, and she said, "You can take some liberties in a few areas." And after she explained to me how to make ribs, never again did I deviate. And now I crush it, and people want my ribs.
Nice.
And so, yeah. If you want me to go on, it's pretty simple since we're talking about food. Okay, here's what you do. Here's what I do. You get a pan, a big pan, like a cake pan or something, I don't know, and you get a wire mesh on top of it. You put about an 1/8 inch of water in the pan, and then you take the ribs, the whole rib, the rack, 1 or 2 racks, whatever you're making. First thing you do is you flip it over and you slice an X on the membrane, and then you flip it back over, and then you take your rub, whatever rub you want, and you rub it, work it into the meat. And then you lay them meat side up, membrane down on top of that griddle. Because so under the ribs, what you have is a little bit of water. And you leave them there. And then after my rub is all over them, then I take a very, very liberal amount of honey and lather, go back and forth all over them until it runs off and down into the water. And then cover that whole pan with foil and put it in the oven. at 265
That's the magic number.
for 3 hours. And for 3 hours on 265. Now, when you go to take them out, they will fall apart. So you have to use a long tong or cut them in half first so you can get them in half sections. And then I use, in my opinion, this is everyone's got their go-to, but in Ohio, we have a world-famous barbecue place, Ribs, and you can only get the sauce online here. You can't buy it in the grocery store. It's called Montgomery Inn. So I order it by mail. And it also says you have to heat it. You can't just lather it up like they do at the JJ giveaway rib joints. It has to be heated with the meat. So I slather that all over the meat, and then I blacken it on the grill. Not blacken where it's burned, but so it's falling apart. It's got this caramelized exterior soaked sauce and blackened brisket type looking all around it. So it falls apart, but you got a little bit of that crunch on the outside with all that. And so and now I'm hungry. And so that's how I make ribs.
Trying not to drool.
Yeah. And so the grill is actually the finishing it off process, but all that honey and rub and the steam and that water inside that circulates, and you only put like that much in now. Man, and they're really, really, really good. And
That sounds good.
so anyway, so that's how I make ribs. Who's next?
For me, it's just, in the smoker,
Yeah.
to thaw them out, put the rub on them,
Stick them on the smoker.
put them in the smoker.
Right.
Do you have like a magical rub, or do you?
We use different kinds. I've tried to mix, salt, pepper, and
What, like brown sugar?
no, it's salt, pepper, garlic.
You're hitting that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, and you're supposed to use equal parts, but we found that if we use equal parts, there's too much salt. So we end up cutting the salt in half or even more. We've done that. We found a couple rubs that weren't bad, but usually we go to Grill Mates makes it. It's brown sugar bourbon, and that's usually
Grill Mates makes good stuff.
yeah they do.
Yeah.
Brown sugar bourbon's usually the one we go to down and buy the big bottle.
Yeah. I do. I buy pork rub. I think it's Grill Mates. I'm not sure, but it's in a puck. And
Yeah.
So I know you got a ribs recipe.
Oh, with me, it's actually a layer of mustard instead of the layer of honey.
Okay.
And then
I've heard that before.
Yeah, oodles of brown sugar. Just get the brown sugar on there and rub it, and really rub it in. But that's it. Because I tried it too with the salting, and I found it to be too salty,
Yeah,
like a salt bomb. And I don't know what's contributing to it in the smoker, but yeah, just mustard, brown sugar, good to go. What about you, Taylor?
When I did it, I just used probably like a McCormick or whatever already made rub. I didn't do mustard, but I know like everybody uses mustard as like the base or whatever. But I put the rub on there, put it on the grill or whatever for, I forget how long, but, and then I wrap it in foil and then put it on for longer, or for a little bit more type thing. So
Now, are you a gas grill guy or are you a wood grill guy?
gas, but I want to get like wood. So
Did everyone here go through the phase of, well, when I was growing up, it was charcoal briquettes. Right?
Yeah.
And then it was like a sin to move to propane. But then when I moved to propane, I was like, this isn't that big of a deal. It doesn't change that much. I mean, I don't see. In fact, now I don't taste lighter fluid. And,
Exactly.
And then,
Right?
And then smokers, to me, knowing people that know how to use it, I'm just going to be truthful. I'm like, I don't want to learn something new again. And so but when I went to Chuck's house. They invited me, my wife and I, over for dinner, and he had everything. He had every kind of meat, like all these different types of meat that he made on the smoker, and it was just so much food. And I tried so much of it, and it was just delicious. And then I thought, man, I want to get one, but I still, I have a cheap grill. When we moved here a little over a year ago, my grill was so massive, and we were running out of room. So I gave it to a relative that because it's just my wife and I, and he has a family, and I'm like, here, you keep it. It was only a few months old. I'll just pick one up. So we got here, and I got one of those little JJ giveaway $99 ones at Lowe's. But I got to be honest, it's the person running the grill and the cooking that if you know how to do what you're doing, you can use a little grill and get it right. So why does everyone in the room suppose? And now we have to exclude smokers for a second because we know what gets flavor in a smoker. But what is it about grilling outside that makes food better? Is it because it's the heat is mixing with fresh air outside, or what do you think that is?
I think it's the caramelization you can get from the fire that you can't get on the stove or in the oven.
Bingo. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Just, you fry a hamburger in a pan on the stove.
But
Take the same hamburger outside and do it on the grill.
But a hamburger in its own grease is pretty tasty.
Well, yeah.
So, but the grill, you're right though. You don't get the flame. So.
Yeah,
unless you want to put it over the gas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You could go to an extreme. Have you always been propane grill, Taylor?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Because you're pretty young, so you probably grew up just with propane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for us three, we were probably introduced to grilling with charcoal briquettes, right?
Briquette, yeah, and that was all you used. And if you used propane, it was cheating.
It was that was blasphemy to grilling, yeah.
But then
Dad always used propane. It wasn't until I got married.
Oh, really?
And met Dee and started doing that stuff with her that she wanted the charcoal.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
some folks like it, and it's still. And when I go somewhere and there's hardcore folks using them, that is an art unto itself too, because you have to know when to put the food on. The grills have to be burnt red and gray and white on the outside. It's got to be a timing thing if you want to avoid the flavor of the, like I said before, the lighter fluid. Yeah, you got to know when to put them on the grill. And so, and there's hot patches. You can't control them. I mean, you can try. You can move but that's an art too. And for people who can do it well, kudos.
My brother showed me a trick. He bought it's like a chimney.
Yeah.
And you put the charcoal on the top. It's got a space on the bottom, and put the paper under, and you light it, and you just set it there. And the paper burns, lights the charcoal. And then when the charcoal gets right, you dump it on the grill, put the grate on, and go.
Yeah.
But there is something.
Takes about 20 minutes.
There is something to just saying, I want to cook a steak, and just going over and click.
Click on the propane.
Yeah.
It is so much easier. So much less frustration.
It is. Does everyone who marinates meat or who just says hit the grill?
I've done both.
Yeah, it depends.
What does it depend on? Because, I mean...
Well, for me, it depends on the meat. It depends on the protein. So...
So it's not a timing issue because sometimes I get home and I'm like, I'm starving. I don't want to wait for something to marinate.
No.
That's me. I mean,
you're like, I want it now.
Just give me a steak.
If I'm marinating, I'm doing it the night before or the day before.
Yeah. If I'm marinating, it's like for company or, a really nice dinner, or I want to try a new flavor and I want to experiment.
Yep.
But yeah, when I'm done with work, I just give me food. I don't just as fast as humanly possible.
Grab the tray of sausage, put it in the smoker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smoker takes longer, doesn't it?
2 hours.
Oh my, I didn't know that.
Well, it depends on what it is. It could take a lot longer than that.
Well,
that's an issue for me.
2 hours.
That's why I don't have a smoker.
For me, it's only a weekend thing. There's no way it happens.
I suppose it's fun though. It's like a ritual when you. I mean, it's good food is worth waiting for. It takes a while to make it good.
You're doing a big piece of meat. Yeah, you're in for.
Like we did a brisket.
A full brisket or a half?
Full brisket.
Oh, so you're like 20 plus hours starting in the wee hours of the morning.
It was 16 hours when we finally pulled it,
man.
Because the temperature just plateaued and it wouldn't move, and we wrapped it in the foil and it still wouldn't move. But it was
were you
done.
using wood? What was your heat source?
Wood pellet.
Wood pellets.
Mm-hmm. We have it's called a Pit Boss.
Mm-hmm. Can you adjust
We can adjust it, and it's kind of a cheater smoker for beginners because it has.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We have
to start somewhere.
Wi-Fi.
It has Wi-Fi, and it has.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah.
A smoker that has Wi. Is my mic sound distorted?
Only when you're chewing on cheese.
No, it sounds a little okay.
Okay.
Does
Yes, I have one that has.
okay? How
Bluetooth.
explain? How does that work?
Okay, so it has a full digital panel on it, and so the auger in the back that feeds the wood pellets down is computerized, so you can control the temperature to the degree.
Yep.
And it continues to feed the auger, and then there's a probe, big pointy probe, that connects to the digital panel that's outside. It just has a little pluggy thing, so you can check the internal temperature of your meat without opening the door.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how things get messed up.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I have an external thermometer that does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sell the pit bosses at Lowe's.
Yeah.
and
How much are they?
they vary, but
Depends on how big you want it.
I
yeah,
can show you.
There's,
I have it up
there's
on my
some-
screen.
They have a pit boss that's also the pellets and propane at the same time. Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, my.
This
The
is what
vertical
we
one, yeah.
have. But yeah, it has a fully digital screen. It's dummy proof.
So that's like a hobbyist cooking type
Yeah.
thing.
Now, we got mine. I kind of cheat all the way around. Mine's electric,
Oh, okay.
so it's electric heat.
So you guys are not. You guys are like
I
way
am.
big time cheaters. You're not. I'm picturing you going out there chopping wood and.
No.
I'm just kidding. I knew you weren't doing that, but
But mine's electric. I can just set the temperature, put the wood chips in, and about every 2-3 hours, you got to go out and check the chips, replace them.
yeah. So I'm
I'd like to get one that's bigger.
right.
You know, I'd like to take like a big old fuel tank, cut it open, lay it out, design it, and that way you have the space. You know, where you're throwing logs in there.
Did you abandon the grill when you guys got smokers? Are you like, okay, see you later, we're finished, or did you just
No, if you come over to my house, I got my smoker here, my grill here.
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Like side by side.
They have their own purposes. Like you were saying, you know, coming home and at the end of a long day and just wanting something on the grill. Yeah.
Burger, hot dogs.
Burger, hot dogs, a steak, whatever. But then on the weekends, the special time, the smokers for that.
I got a kind of a question. How did this popped in my head when you were talking about that? How does everyone like their steak? How do you eat your steak?
Usually like medium.
I have to say I'm medium to medium rare now.
Yeah.
Medium.
Yeah, I'm medium. My wife is like, wipe his rear end and knock the horns off.
Yeah.
That's how Denisha is.
Yeah.
Still
And-
bleeding.
Yeah. I used to like it that way more, but medium is really, it is pink in the middle. Any meat, that's another thing. When I grew up as a kid, my family were all kind of hillbillies, and my grandparents, if meat wasn't done until you could throw it and break a window, so it was like hard and burnt and
Yeah.
pork chops and burgers and everything. And I'm like,
That's how my
as a
grandfather
kid,
was.
I hated meat. I'm like,
Yeah.
People are like, why you don't like steak? I'm like, no, because I didn't know it tastes good. I just thought it was gross, and
I
it
would
tastes.
rather have chicken or burgers.
Yeah.
day,
From
because
that's why
I'm not-
McDonald's was the best food in the world. I'm like, if they can get it right, why is it so hard for you to get it right? But and then I got older. I'm like, oh, steak has flavor.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, if it's gonna, you gotta have that pinkness. And,
Yeah, I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Mine was, if it's not brown all the way through, it's not done.
Yeah, I cannot
My grandfather
do that.
was brown on the inside, black on the outside. You were okay. Now, if you were black on both, you were perfect.
That's just it
My
makes you feel
dad's
bad
the-
for all those people. Like, man, you don't know what you're missing.
My dad's the same way to this day. If you bite into a burger and it's red in the middle, he will not eat it.
Oh.
Yep, he's done.
And it's hilarious if you go to somewhere like Texas Roadhouse and you go to get a steak and you hear the people around you and you hear someone order something well done.
Oh, I know.
And you feel the air suck out of the room.
You just
Cringe.
Yeah, want to say what is wrong with you? What
hear the cook
you're
in
doing
the
it
kitchen.
wrong.
You hear the cook in the kitchen screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. What I haven't looked at our sheet too much, but
Neither have I.
I'm kind of going off. Well, that's okay. We have our springboard sheets in case we get at a loss for conversation. But I should know better that that's not going to happen with this group. Taylor, what's your one thing that you won't cook because you're horrible at? You still haven't got it right. You're like, I'm done with this, or at least You know, on the grill.
Probably the ribs, just because I think cooking ribs on the grill. I mean, I'm sure there's a better way or easier way. Like, but the when I did it, I didn't do that well, and until I get like a smoker or something, I probably won't.
Right.
You know?
I should have everyone in this room and the spouses over for ribs someday, and I'll make them.
You should.
And then I can make a video that day of the how-to video too. That would be fun.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about. So we should do that. So that would be 8. Yeah, I can count 8. Okay, that's 8 people. So so it's ribs for you, Chuck. What's your Achilles?
I was thinking about the question when you ask it, and I'm going.
You're pretty content with everything, and that's fine.
I
Some
haven't
people
really screwed anything up that bad yet.
So okay,
Really?
Jackie, do you have one type of?
Fish, burgers, hot dogs, sausage, chicken.
My thing is fish. We weren't really fish people growing up.
Right.
So even though I went to culinary school, the idea
I didn't know. You
Yeah.
probably told me that before too.
I did. Yeah.
You're like, I did. You're just an idiot. You don't remember.
Well, you told people I went to art school, and I'm like,
Did I? I didn't tell.
that.
Did I tell someone that, or
Yeah.
did I say I think?
no, you told several people.
What's kind of art?
Yeah, it's a culinary art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
But
gosh.
the
How did I
con-
get? It's I'm sorry. I have to address this. It's because of her art. Have you seen her
It's
paintings?
because of my paintings.
And when she probably said when I was in school, and then I see all her paintings, so
Yeah.
my brain filled in the blanks and said
Yeah.
art school because I went to art school. Jackie's cool. I'm
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So I made that parallel of coolness. So
I didn't go to school.
sorry about that. That's
Mm-hmm. No.
I should try to be more accurate.
No. But what I was going to say is like the concept of a whole fish. You know, the entire
Gross.
fish cut open, you know, with the lemons or something like that, and the
yeah.
eyeball sticking out. And I just,
I'm okay
do you
with
not
cutting.
do that?
I'm okay with cutting the head and the tail off and just having the.
You are
The rest of
with
it.
the scales and all that.
Yeah. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
lay it open.
You do. I
do
can't
it a
cook
lot on the-
fish,
on the
fish on a
grill.
grill's a nightmare for me. I
Like,
tried it once.
Do
and-
you fish?
if
too?
you're not gonna do
Yeah.
the scales,
Yeah.
you want to put foil under it and kind of just wrap it in foil and let it.
Well,
cook
I've
that
had
way.
fish prepared with foil and butter, like rammed in foil, and somebody else did it. It was delicious. It was walleye, I think, and that was yummy. But I'm not a fish person, so I like shellfish. And I don't dislike fish. It's just not something I seek out. Like, oh, well, let's have fish tonight. You know,
I'll actually go for fish over steak.
really,
Really?
Yes.
that's awesome. I mean, it's better for you. So
Well,
I mean,
you like it? You like the taste?
I never really liked steak growing up, so
Okay.
I've never really. It's like we go out to dinner and it's like she'll get steak, everyone else gets steak, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take the fish or the chicken, and then I get the.
Interesting.
Amen, brother. That's good. That's good for you.
and then anytime I've had fish that has been grilled, you know, sometimes it sticks or you
Yeah.
get the weird crusty things. And
It sticks to the grill or sticks to the fork.
Yeah.
See, that's me. I tried it once or twice. I'm like, eh.
You just scrape it off.
I've had that problem, but like I've even tried ways. You put lemons right on the grill, and then
oh,
the
and then put
fish.
the fish
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah.
top.
and like you can, if you keep the skin on, put it on the grill, like skin side down for the first part, and then you could like flip it over onto
The meaty part.
onto like the lemons or oranges or whatever, and it could be anything else. Like I know there's like wood blocks that people use, things like that. But
I don't flip my fish.
You don't?
You just let it go?
Yep.
So
put
one
it in,
side
keep the
is one
flame.
side cooked more than the other?
No, you keep the flame low and put it in, close it.
Now, do you do indirect heat on that or do you do direct heat?
Usually direct. It's just not high heat.
So you do good with fish then. See, not and you said fish is your
I have no confidence in doing it. Like I can do shrimp on a kebab, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But like a whole fish.
Kebabs, you just pulled back the
Kabang!
stump. That's a whole new.
Sorry.
Chicken's my bad one on the grill, which is really weird because I'm sure you're all thinking, dude, that's like the simplest thing. I'm okay with this chicken breast, boneless chicken breast. I'm cool. I can do that, no sweat. But anything
With a bone?
with the bone or skin, and I love chicken. But my wife is a really good cook, so. we both, there's things that I make that she doesn't make because she loves the way I make it. I like the way I make it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a ton of stuff that she makes that I don't mess with. I just let her make it because it's good that way. When it comes to chicken, my wife gets, she's in charge of that because she does it really well. I try it on the grill and it's like, man, this ain't working out. The skin sticks and people go, well, that's because you're trying to turn it too soon. And maybe that's true. I don't know. I just don't do well with chicken if it has a bone on the grill.
I honestly have to say probably that's the one I'm the weakest on is chicken with the
Chicken
bone.
with the bone.
Chicken with the bone.
That's what it's weird, isn't it?
That's like you said it's really, because if you undercook it,
Yeah, it's not good.
you got a big problem.
You're gonna get
Yeah, that's
sick.
an
It's
issue.
got to be cooked.
Yeah. And if it's overcooked, then that's,
And then it's dry and tastes like crap.
Yeah.
yeah.
Chicken can be pretty difficult, yeah, because it's the same thing. Like you don't want to undercook it or you don't want to overcook it, so it just,
Now, do you do like beer can chicken?
Oh, I haven't recently, but the first time I actually did it, it was somebody's birthday. I remember that, and we did like 2 on the grill, and I love it. And we didn't undercook it or anything. It was like perfectly cooked and juicy. and
Everybody's always told me that that's the way to get it really moist and
yeah.
juicy.
it was really good.
And
What, how does this work? I've heard of it, but I don't know if I've.
So they make these metal contraption things where you put the beer, or I'm sure you can use whatever else, and then you put and it's a whole chicken, and you put the legs in like a little hole type thing, and just stuck the chicken right down.
yeah, you stick
And
the
The beer goes up inside the chicken's body.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. So
like stuffing.
yeah. And
So
so
then-
you stand the chicken up
Yeah.
while you cook.
On the
Okay.
grill.
So is this grill or smoker or
You could probably do both, or
How long does it
put
take
on
to
the
cook it?
grill.
Beer can chicken in the smoker.
how long?
You gave me an idea.
I know, right?
I don't know.
I
It's been a
think
while since I did it, but
it probably depends on how big your chicken is, or if it's like a Cornish hen.
And a smoker, you're probably talking. I mean, that's really slow cooking, right? That's the whole idea.
6-7 hours.
Well, it depends on
chicken.
your temperature, but when you're cooking it, the beer almost boils and steams.
Steams
then
to me, yeah.
then the chicken's over it.
I'm okay with
So
it. I
it
love me
goes-
some Yardbird.
Yeah, it goes right into the chicken and keeps it really moist.
Is that a regional thing?
What?
Yardbird.
I only know one other person that calls it yardbird.
I don't think so.
I've never heard that actually.
Yardbird? Yeah.
The
Well,
gentleman I work with, it calls it yardbird.
because people out in the woods, they're all over the yard, and they live out in the yard, and you're hungry, you just go out and get one and clean it. And it's Yardbird. I mean, so it's an old saying. So I didn't. Well, there was a band, the Yardbirds. Jimmy Page's band.
The Yardbirds.
Well, I always. Yeah, because to me, I hear Yardbird, and I think, this one kind of name is that for a band? But anyway.
Well, and
Different subject.
Yeah.
with the chicken, like beer can chicken, I've also done pheasant,
Ooh, I like
beer
pheasant.
can
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah, it was amazing because in college I was able to go on like a hunting trip, and it was for pheasants, and I got 2, and I was like, well, I'll put one in the oven for the first time, and then the next time I was like, oh, why not like a beer can? I'm sure that was
Why not? Yeah.
And it was way better than the oven one.
Ooh.
So
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that constant flow of moisture into the meat and all that stuff. Plus, yeah, man, that sounds good. I don't know that I would have the patience for it. Well, I don't know. If you get a smoker, you have to learn patience.
But
I
if you
suppose.
did it in the smoker, you could do a Cornish game hen or like a guinea hen, and it would be smaller.
Ah, that's a good idea.
You just take the top 3 racks out and put it on the bottom when you get plenty of room.
Just shove
Yeah.
a turkey in there. and
I've done that.
Put a keg in there. I don't know.
We've done the whole turkey.
Oh,
in a
have you done
smoker.
it? Have you seen turkey cooked in grease outside?
fried.
And you drop it, deep
Yeah,
fried turkey.
deep fried turkey.
Yeah. Have you done it?
Oh yeah.
I know
Yep.
people that have done it. Completely terrifies me and will never do it.
It terrifies me watching all the YouTube videos of the ones that go wrong, but
Yeah.
I have eaten it, and boy, is it tasty.
Oh, it's delicious.
yeah.
My first turkey that I shot, we deep fried it, and unfortunately, it didn't taste good because it was an order turkey. But one of the first times that my parents did Thanksgiving, we deep fried it, and my dad made the mistake of deep frying it in our garage.
Oh man!
And nothing caught on fire.
Oh,
but
jeez.
the whole garage smelled like
Chicken,
like the
chicken fat.
The funky grease.
Yeah, and then my mom's vehicle was in there too, with the windows down and everything. So like the inside of her car for a month or so just smelled like grease. And
I don't know if that's a bad thing, is it?
Yeah.
I got
Sitting in the hot sun.
And when I've seen people do it, they inject them.
Yes.
With some flavoring, which kind of makes you think, oh man, that's kind of cheating. But
No. It keeps it moist.
yeah,
Up under the skin.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to do it if you do a roasted turkey at Thanksgiving. You're going to shove butter under the skin anyway. So, I mean,
Right.
it's the same thing.
Oh, they do that?
I do that.
That's too much work.
Do you? So you're
I just put it in the smoker and turn smoker on.
if you're making burgers, like, first of all, sometimes I don't cook things the same way for guests as I do for myself. Like,
Yes.
sometimes for a guest, I'll go the extra distance, and for myself, I'm just like, get in my belly, but
A lot of times.
But
I'll
growing up, I remember watching different, relatives, my mom, my grandma, whatever, do weird stuff when they would make hamburgers, like onion and green peppers and different stuff. And I'm like, ooh, that's gross. And sometimes cracker crumbs, and I'm like, and I see them put a ton of that in
Cracker
meatloaf. Meatloaf. Only time.
meatloaf burgers.
Well,
Just
meatloaf, yes.
Just anyway, I don't do any of that. I just make the burger and a ton of salt and a ton of pepper, because almost all of it falls off while it's cooking. So to get a little bit of the flavor to stay on, you have to go overboard with it, in my opinion. And then, because I don't care whether you're grilling, frying,
mix
or
it
what
in.
you're doing, the grease makes it drip off. So you got to kind of push it in there. But so when it comes to burgers, the most basic thing, I'm salt, pepper, both sides, cook. You get so that's pretty much everyone.
And my husband drives me nuts because I'm a purist like that. Just salt, pepper, throw it on the grill. He uses Lowry's,
Oh yeah.
that seasoning salt stuff.
I've tried that.
But he uses it on everything, and he dumps it on there, and it's like, dude, I just want a burger.
Yeah, I went through a phase where I tried that stuff, and I was like, I didn't.
I grew up with a seasoned salt on everything.
Yeah.
So I didn't. That was
It has its place on certain things. I don't want it on my burger.
yeah.
No, I will experiment with myself. Like, okay, let's put this in it. Let's put that in it. See how it turns out.
Yeah.
And then if I have guests, I'm like, okay, yeah, I did this. It turned out well. Let's try it.
Right.
Is there something new that you've experimented with recently? Like, I experimented with, and I'm a foodie and I watch a lot of foodie shows, so if you don't know what this is, it's okay. It's called gochujang. Gochujang. It's a fermented red soybean paste. It's Korean. So, the flavor that you get when you eat Chinese food, and it's that sort of salt bomb, but good. It's called umami. It's that other sense that's
Yeah.
just.
I want more of that.
So it's this paste that is just that flavor, but a little hint of spice. So I've been experimenting with that on like a pork loin.
Sounds good.
But you got to be careful with it, because if you put too much, it's spicy and
It's that's another topic, spicy food.
Yeah,
I don't either. I've been to somebody's house before who they like spicy food, so they just made everything super hot, and I'm like, don't do that.
like, dude.
You don't do that for people. You ask them, do you like
Yeah.
spicy stuff? You don't just
you
throw
have-
it at them.
Well, when you came over, I had different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one rack of ribs that was a jalapeno.
I couldn't even
something
eat
like
all the different types of meat you had because Chuck threw on quite a spread, and it was impressive and delicious, and it was a wonderful dinner. But I just couldn't try everything. I just got full, and so
that. My latest thing is smoked meatloaf.
Ooh, I bet that'd be good.
I've tried it a couple times, and I haven't quite got it right yet, but I'll get it there.
Now, do you do the ketchup on top?
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause- no, look at him shaking his head.
okay.
I don't like ketchup, so
You don't like ketchup?
not really. No.
My wife hates ketchup.
Yeah, it's
Don't care for raw tomatoes. Love ketchup.
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
It's okay.
But If anything, if I'd put anything on the meatloaf, it'd probably be like barbecue sauce, actually,
Yeah.
See, no.
Yeah.
on top.
Where I'm from, we put ketchup on salad. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Ketchup goes on macaroni.
I'm just kidding.
Ketchup goes on macaroni and cheese. Ketchup goes on eggs.
Eggs, I know.
Yeah.
And people can be, people have their. My wife's a mayonnaise person. I'm a. I'm only allowed to have one condiment. It's mustard. I put mustard on tater tots. Mustard on. I've even ate peanut butter and mustard sandwiches when I was a kid. Yeah, we made peanut butter. We made peanut butter and mustard. I made peanut butter and sugar sandwiches, and when I was a kid, because like I told you, listen, my family comes from the hills. A lot of them from West Virginia. And some of them from Indian reservation. Listen to this. This will blow any. Okay, kids, I learned how to make this thing called fudge in a cup because. Yeah, exactly. For my stepdad made it. I'm like, okay, so here's how you make it, right? You get a coffee cup, and you take out like 4 big scoops, just a lot of peanut butter, and you fill up the coffee cup about half, 3/4 of the way, and then you dump like a third to half a cup of sugar in it, and then you put milk in it and a liberal amount of Hershey's syrup, and you just keep stirring and stirring and stirring. And the consistency, you eat it with a spoon and it crunches because of the sugar. It's called fudge in a cup. Then when I was a kid, friends would come over and like, can we make fudge in a cup? Like, sure. And no idea. That's like, cocaine. I mean, there's so much sugar.
Wow.
And, but that's the kind of stuff. Exactly.
It sounds
people
like
from the hills are in love with
sludge.
white sugar. They put it on everything. So now I outgrew it, but
that's a good thing.
That's one of the hillbilly. Is there any kind of hillbilly recipe thing that you guys eat that you're like, I wouldn't eat this around anyone else or make it for them, but man, I like it.
I mean, it doesn't have to do with a smoker or grill, but it's still cooking.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Canned venison. I don't know.
Canned venison. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
Is that like Spam?
No. So how it works is
Like
we
you
basically
can
just
vegetables.
like we put the meat in the jar, like the glass jar, and we like to put like a strip of bacon because sometimes you put like salt on it, but we put bacon, and you can put like any type of seasoning on it if you want, but we typically just plain simple.
So you store this yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
you could store it for.
So
I don't know exactly how long the shelf life is, but
if we don't die, we figure it's
Couple
cool.
years.
yeah. And how you cook it is because it's basically already cooked.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
so you just put it in the pan, reheat it almost. But it looks really gross and everything, like not cooked. And what you do is you just put it in the pan.
Yeah.
I'm remembering what it looks like in the jar, on the shelf in the cellar, and just like the floating meat in it and it's coagulating.
Yeah,
You're like,
it does look really gross.
Where's the back room where the experiments happen?
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's, I mean, all you have to do is, throw it in the pan, let it cook up, and then I make it into like a gravy. I put like flour or whatever, and then I do like egg noodles or anything like that, and just put it all together, and it's good. It's just like beef gravy.
But you wouldn't.
gravy.
That's a Taylor thing. You're not going to ask somebody to come over. Hey, you want some of this?
Yeah, it was even hard to get Denisha to eat some of it.
I would
because,
imagine
like,
so. Yeah.
She was like, she doesn't mind it. Like, it's not bad.
She's coming around.
It's pretty good, but
okay.
It is also kind of like a weird thing. Like, hey, we're having canned venison, and you're like,
No,
like,
we're not. We're having Domino's.
It's got to be better than canned chicken.
That would take a brave. I don't think I could try that. Do you have a gross thing that other people might think's gross, but you're like, I'm all about it?
Oh, nothing that I can really think of.
Right? Nothing. What about you, Jackie?
My husband does. One of the first dates we went on, he made something in a pig's stomach.
Okay. I think that's called haggis. Or that's sheep's stomach. I forget.
No, that's a sheep's stomach.
Sheep's stomach, right.
There's it's local, people make the stuff in the pig's stomach. And just the smell in the house,
And he's all about it?
Yeah, because his mom used to make it, and his gram used to make it, and everybody's made it. And I'm just like, no.
It's probably the only thing I can think of is scrapple.
No, I like Scrapple. Have you had
No,
scrapple?
no.
You don't know what scrapple
Oh
is?
no!
We'll
Here
fix
we
that.
go.
And
What
how
is
long
it?
have you been here and you don't know it?
What? Tell me what it is.
Basically, when you're done processing the pig,
Yeah.
everything that's left over,
Yeah.
you throw it in a pot and boil it down. And you make like
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
The air horn. I did an air horn.
you didn't
for
like
him.
that one?
No, I know.
She
that
knows
his
what I was
reaction.
thinking.
Yeah, basically you make a
You make
pot out of it.
There's cornmeal. So it has a bit of texture to it, and then you throw it on like a hot grill.
Okay, all right.
So it gets a little bit of caramelization, a little bit of edge to it.
I could probably do that.
You can't
'cause
cook it in a deep fryer.
Yeah.
No,
It goes away.
Yeah.
it'll disintegrate in a deep fryer.
You
We
can
could
buy
do it.
And it's like bricks.
Yeah,
right?
you get it in
and
a
you could
brick
just-
from the Amish.
It's like a
Yeah.
loaf.
You could slice it. And,
So you really don't
it's-
know what's in there.
no.
Oh, come on, guys!
It's like hot dogs.
don't
Everybody loves
know
hot
what's
See,
dogs.
in there.
I don't care for it. It's
Right?
It depends on how
You
it's
either
prepared.
grow up and like it,
Yeah.
or
I-
you don't.
I-
It's
I'm-
one of
I'm-
those.
I don't know. I'm open-minded about some things, and other things I just don't want to. There's some things, and that's what kills me at my age when people try to get you to try stuff you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Like people never. My wife does this with sauerkraut. Try some have some sauerkraut. I don't know. No, I don't want sauerkraut. It's disgusting. Eat it. No, you've never had it
can't do
the
it.
way I make it. I go, that's like someone saying, here's horse dung, and if you have it the way I make it, you'll like it. And I'll go, no, I don't. I look at it, and I know I don't want it in my mouth
Liver.
because I can smell it. Liver,
Right.
same
Liver.
thing.
I won't-
eat liver. And when people eat it around me, more power to them, man. But I don't want it. And I use liver to fish for catfish. I'm not eating it. I'm not eating bait. And so
give it away.
I think it's
Not
gross.
eating bait.
So
Need a
do you like
t-shirt.
do you like good grief, what did I just
Sauerkraut.
Yeah, do you like sauerkraut?
I can't stand it.
Okay, so I felt you wincing.
He will
so
chase
I
me
love
around
it.
the.
you love it.
I
Are
love
you like it?
sauerkraut.
not really. No, I've had it when I went to Germany for school trip.
Like real sauerkraut.
That was good.
Yeah.
But I don't eat over here.
Not so much. Do you like liver?
No.
Okay. So everyone except you do like liver. You don't like liver. So everyone hates liver.
Yes.
Like New Year's Eve around here, you have
There's
hot
not enough
dogs and
ketchup.
sauerkraut.
There's some things
And sauerkraut.
Yeah.
My mom
I-
would make separate.
Yeah,
Because
I
me
can't.
and my sister don't like sauerkraut, but like growing up,
Pork, sauerkraut,
too.
hot dogs, an apple.
The smell.
Oh, that's delicious. It
that's
fills the
what
whole
gets
house.
me is the smell.
The smell of sauerkraut. Yeah, the smell of it's like socks. It's like
Yeah.
somebody left the lid to the hamper open. That's what it smells like to me. It's like dirty laundry. That's it. That's right. It's dirt. It's nasty.
It's-
Liver's the same way. And that's when I.
We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's the gross things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat bait. So I used to work with a guy who said he didn't eat ugly food. He didn't eat chicken with bones, and he goes, I don't eat ugly food. I said, I've never heard anyone say that before. Ugly food. I started thinking about that. I eat all kinds of ugly food.
I'll eat some weird stuff.
Yeah.
But
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
pig cheeks.
Pork, hang on. Was
cheeks.
that at like on a spit, like a pig
smoked.
roast?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's gross if you do it that way because they're like, I don't know. That gets a pass.
It
It
it's
is
a
weird, though.
delicacy if it's done right.
Yeah. It
I'm
is.
not going to eat head
Barbacoa.
cheese. I'm not going to eat eyeballs, but I will eat the cheeks all day.
Yeah.
Barbacoa?
Barbacoa, isn't that what that's called?
Maybe.
It has a name other
Yeah,
than
there's
pig's
a word
cheeks.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Taylor? What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? And you hunt, so you've
Yeah.
probably eaten like squirrel tail with bear claw nails clippings or something.
Maybe for this area, alligator, but
That's good. Alligator's good.
yeah,
Never had it.
That's yummy.
Tastes like chicken.
that's probably about all that I can think of.
No, when you hunt, I mean, you're a hunter. You fish. You are a fisherman. Do you use as much of the animal as possible?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
I just
you
had a
know-
funny image in my.
Well, no, because there's guys that will like shoot the deer and then leave it.
Oh, that's
You
not.
know,
That's not.
it's-
I don't think
That's not hunting.
anybody
Yeah.
with a clear conscience shouldn't. That's
No.
That's just killing.
I mean,
Right.
the
Yeah.
only thing that really we don't use, and I'd like to get into it, or at least try it one time, is like the hide and the head, really. But
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
if it's
Tanning.
a buck or something like that. But yeah, I'd love to get into that. But
Yeah.
we use most of the meat, like, because usually we either have somebody process the deer, or for a while, like we were doing it ourselves, and we would use everything meat wise.
Yeah.
And then like any scraps, we grind it up for hamburger and things like that. So
Yeah.
or canned venison. So
Canned venison.
Canned venison. I'd have to say groundhog. Probably the weirdest thing I've ever eaten.
You've eaten groundhog.
see, and that's one thing I've never tried, and I've gone groundhog hunting a ton, and I just throw it back in the hole kind of thing, and just
Well, people kill groundhogs because they're the nuisance,
Yeah.
and
They break tractors and balers.
yeah, I know
wagons.
somebody lost his arm because of a groundhog. He was on a combine. It was a tractor, and the groundhog tunneled. It hit the tunnel. The whole thing flipped, and when it came down, he came out of the top cab, and his arm.
Hit the
He
wheels.
lost his arm. His arm came out, and he was pinned, and his arm because of a groundhog.
Yep, we broke a baler when we were kids because of a groundhog. Tire dropped in and it twisted
Yeah.
the frame, and it was weeks till we got that back in line.
They're cute little critters, but
they're
they
not.
can be dangerous.
So,
I think they're neat to look at, but I don't know. They can be a nuisance if
Yeah.
you have gardening and farming.
so what does a groundhog taste like? Is it
Good question.
like a chickeny texture?
Squirrel.
Tastes like coon.
Squirrel.
Well,
It's
just
like a meat.
Squirrel's a fuzzy-tailed rat.
Yeah, squirrel. Yeah, it tastes like
or,
squirrel.
yeah, squirrel is what I've been told.
Squirrel or dark meat for the chicken.
You haven't
Something
tried
like that.
squirrel yet?
Oh, I have, yeah, but groundhog I haven't. So
Watch out for the BBs.
Have you ever had coon and noodles or possum smothered in onions? I'm just kidding. This joke, Ohio
Never
jokes.
had possum. Never had.
Yeah, there are people that eat that stuff, man. And
Rabbit. Love rabbit.
I've had rabbit. Rabbit's pretty tasty.
Rabbit's common though.
It's common. You know, one of the things I think everyone's tried, but I think is overrated is frog legs.
Yeah.
Because there's just people say it tastes like chicken. It tastes like a chicken that doesn't have any flavor really.
yeah,
Rubbery.
Yeah, it's just not that. It's just,
there's usually not a lot.
yeah,
on
exactly.
there.
You
That's
got
a lot of work for a little bite.
Yeah.
It's like snow crabs. I don't eat snow crab. I mean, it's a ton of work for this little bit of work. Now, king crab.
Yeah, that's different.
That's as big as a brat. You bust that open, and it's worth it because I mean, I love shellfish. King, most of it, but anyway, veering off track there. But so the weirdest thing you ate was groundhog. What about and yours was alligator, which I've had that deep fried in chunks and dipped in sauce, and it's delicious. I don't think it's that weird. This actually came up on another program.
Yeah.
Did you already say what your
I
weird
said
thing?
about the pig cheeks.
Pig cheeks. I don't have anything terribly exciting. Had shark, steak. I had swordfish. I had alligator. Had squid. I'm trying to think of.
Coastal foods.
Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
I've had anything. I've never had like spotted owl or unicorn steak or anything
Well,
like
you know,
harp seal burgers or
Where do you
anything.
buy that at?
have you had bear?
No, I haven't.
I tried bear for
I've
the
had
first
buffalo.
time. Yeah, well, buffalo I would think would be
Oh, it's
Bison.
bison.
good.
Bison's good.
Yeah, but bear?
I've actually never had bear either.
The same buddy that we went to that had the venison beef stick thingies, he had bear steaks because he killed some kind of like 300, 400 pound bear. And he gave them to me and I cooked them up on the grill. It's strange. It's this weird gaminess, but it's really good.
Bear steak.
Bear steak.
Man, I always wondered what that was
Probably
like.
got like a muskier. I've heard it has like a muskier flavor.
Yeah. Weird.
I've had a ton of bear bologna. That's probably a lot of more of what I've had of bear, but
And like I've never
Is
had
it-
elk, but I know some people around here hunt elk.
oh yeah.
But
Is there a noticeable difference? But I mean, because it's bologna, so you pretty much know what bologna tastes like. Did you eat it and be like, oh, this is a lot different?
Kind of. I mean, it wasn't like I could definitely like tell that was bear, but
Right.
it definitely tasted different from venison or regular bologna. But
Yep. What about now? I want to know. I'm revisiting this. Jackie brought this up a little bit ago, and it just all kinds of bells went off in my head. When we were talking about struggling with chicken on the grill. Okay, so kebabs. Now, let me just start by saying, I have a way I do it, but I see some folks put all the meat on one thing, they put everything on its own thing so they can control how that thing cooks. And then some folks, I do this, put all the meat and everything, all the taters, onions, whatever. And for mine, it's pretty standard. I do chicken, beef, onions, green pepper, and small red potatoes on one skewer. And I slather it up with barbecue sauce, and I cook that. And usually it's pretty good. That takes the meat a little longer, and sometimes the veggies get a little crisp around the corner, but sometimes I get into that, it's sticking and everything's sliding off, and then it turns into a tragedy. So what I want to hear the kebab methods. If you do kebabs, do you do kebabs?
I have, yeah.
Yeah? So is it one of those things like, no, too much work?
No, I mean, I haven't done it a ton, but I enjoy it.
Barbecue sauce or no?
If I do it towards the end, just to get it like, I don't want to burn it or whatever, but like just to get it like caramelized and everything. But yeah, if I do, but yeah.
If I were to do kebabs, which I've never done, I would probably have to have them separated because
The meat and the veggies all separate. And
I'd separate it, then
dump
put
it
it
on the
together
plate. That's the
later.
neat way to do it. I know some folks do it that
can't-
way, but for me,
I
it's
can't
it's
control
like
it.
it's the
Yeah.
experience of taking everything and sliding it off and watching it all fall into a mess. I mean, that's I don't know. That to me, it's what I'm used to. What about you?
The only thing I've ever kebabbed was shrimp, and I do like shrimp, pineapple.
Okay, so that's a yummy.
You know, that kind
Yeah,
of thing
that's
with barbecue
that's
sauce.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's
So-
very
if I were to
girly,
do it,
I'm
it would
sorry.
probably be
that's almost like just what's the word, skewer or a.
Well,
Yeah, it's more because that's not that challenging, and that's always pretty much going to be good.
yeah.
You don't really mess that up unless you're, a monkey in a paper hat. But that one always comes out good. So, what about this? Is now for me. If you guys want to bypass this topic, we can. I brought it up to Jackie, and she's like, "Let's not spend a lot of time on that." But I do. What side dish goes with everything? Whatever kind. I don't mean every single thing you cook, but like. There's some things I make, and since we're talking grilling and smoking, let's talk meats, that I got to have this thing with it or I'm not making it. Example, steak. Steak's got to have a baked potato. No mashed potatoes, no steak fries, no Texas steak fries, no any kind of double mashed potatoes, no open. There's got to be a baked potato. If I don't have, I could have 5 steaks in the fridge and be hungry. If I don't have any potatoes, I'm not having steak that night.
Really?
That's me. That's my thing. And a cold. I want a cold thing. And the cold thing has to be either, I don't know, macaroni salad, cottage cheese, something like that. Something cold on the side. So what are your sides for your main, like something that you have to have with something?
Usually potatoes is any type of potato, really. Like, I mean, whether it is steak or hamburger or whatever, like we eat tons of potatoes. So,
Right.
And we do it usually different. We have an air fryer, so we'll make French fries or
Love those things. We got one too.
oh yeah, and or just
think we all
dice
have
them
one.
up or
Yeah.
whatever and throw it in a pan with onions and peppers or whatever, or just various things with potatoes.
So there's not like something you have to have. You're just like, as long as I can make potatoes in any way, shape, or form, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. With a steak, I have to have a baked potato. With chicken, I have to have mashed potatoes and noodles.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's
Really? Baked potato?
Long as there's a vegetable and a starch,
Yeah.
whatever it might be, we always mix it up. Like the meat might be similar, but there's always different vegetables and starch.
My wife's big on vegetables. I joke, she's, Drew, we got to have a vegetable with it. And I'm like, well, what do we have? And she's
Ketchup.
broccoli. I go, that's that stuff that goes with cheese, right?
Yeah.
So
Little tree
we got,
things.
yeah, we'll put some trees. I'll make a bowl of cheese and we'll put a little bit of that in there to decorate it.
You got to steam the vegetables.
Yeah, that's true. They're good. So what say you about sides?
Mac and cheese, homemade mac and cheese.
Oh yeah,
with
if you can do it good, that's good.
like crack level mac and cheese with like 5 or 6 cheeses.
Breadcrumbs.
And the,
Yeah,
and
well,
the
not
crusty-
everyone went to culinary school, so
Well, Well, but that or sweet potato fries in the air fryer.
Yeah.
That's-
I used to think that sweet potatoes were gross, but then I've had like fries and I was like, these are actually good.
I did the same thing. I thought there's a lot of things though that I absolutely hated my younger self, and now I really like. And have you guys ever done that? Like, there's something you hate your whole life, and one day you go, you know what? Today that sounds good, and then you eat it and you go, I like this now.
I mean, that's kind of how it was with sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like, Thanksgiving, my family or Denise's family, whoever, they always had like sweet potato with, I don't even know what they call it, just sweet potatoes or whatever. And I used to think, oh, that's gross, whatever.
Right.
But it's like a dessert because it's like
with the
sweet
marshmallow crap on the top. Yeah.
And I'm like, why did
Sweet potato pie.
Sweet
Is that
potato
what you're talking about?
casserole.
Sweet potato
Yeah.
casserole. Yeah.
Sweet potato casserole.
That's good.
And I was like, why did I like waste like all my life not?
Yeah.
Why did I let my life go by and not enjoy this?
Good.
Take the marshmallow fluff off of it, and it's delicious.
Yeah, it's still
That's what. That's one perspective. We got to close out. I can't. We zipped through
was
an
an hour.
hour. That was an hour. It feels like 15 minutes.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And now
Anything
I'm
important?
hungry.
I'm starving. I want a steak and a baked potato. Look at all the stuff we've got.
One thing I forgot to tell you that I did, I smoked deviled eggs.
Deviled egg.
Wow.
After you made them?
No. Like hard boiled the eggs and then put the whole eggs in the smoker.
Smoke the egg and then
Smoke the
cut 'em
egg
and made 'em.
and then cut them and made them. And I didn't smoke them for that long either. Cause I didn't
So hang on
want
a
it to
second.
be-
So in the shell?
No.
Not in the shell. So
you go.
hard boil the eggs,
Right,
and
so
take
take
the
it
shell
out.
off,
Yeah.
and then just to the smoker.
With the shell
Oh,
on it,
okay.
it wouldn't
Wow.
take
I
the
never-
smoke.
I bet that's interesting.
But not too long, so it wasn't like overpowering.
What flavors of smoke do you like?
I do a lot of hickory and a lot of applewood.
See, I like apple and
What
cherry.
flavors of smoke? Burning warehouse. I
Yeah.
like burning warehouse
Indeed.
scent. I don't.
Apple and cherry are mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple. Just hearing apple and smoke and smoke, it sounds
Yeah.
that just makes me think.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
The smell of applewood smoked bacon is just, when it fills the whole house when you cook.
I haven't eaten since I'm starving. I'm not.
So where are we going for dinner?
Yeah, exactly.
Go to your house, right?
And it's weird because you talk about this kind of food. You can't just I'll get Burger King on the way home. It's like, no, that falls so short, man. Go home with that. Go to the grocery store hungry.
Oh,
I went to pick up milk and some hot dog buns, and I came back. I spent $103 at the grocery store.
Yeah, we've got a rule.
If I turn the heat up a little higher, we can eat in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
No, we've got a rule. You don't go to the grocery store hungry.
Yeah. Well, I never obey that rule because I hate. Maybe hate's not a strong enough word. I don't like going to the grocery store at all. And so when I'm there, I'm like, all right, I'm getting everything that I could possibly need. And then I'm an extremist when I run out. If we we're out of ketchup. All right, that's never happening again. I'm getting 5 gallons of ketchup, so I don't ever have to go back. And I do that. Grace is like, why did you buy so many saltines or so many? Why do we have 6 loaves of bread and 3? I'm like, I don't know, because I went to the store.
Saltines and chocolate icing.
When we run out of something, I get irritated. I'm like, at myself, because I think, you knew this was running low. Why didn't you pick this up? I'm like, I'm just getting 5. And then 3 get thrown away because they expire.
This is a guy thing, isn't it?
Or
It is a guy thing.
Or you go, okay, I need milk, eggs, bread, chips. Well, I'm home. I don't have any chips.
Yeah.
It's like it was
Because you
on
got to
the
have the
list.
chips for the salsa.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh man.
We got to close out, guys. What do you want to send out the show with? What's your last thoughts, Taylor, about grilling, cooking, food, summer food, and all that?
I don't know. I want to get more into the smoking. I just need space and money.
Yeah.
But because it can be pretty expensive. For nice ones, I'd love to have like a Pit Boss or a Komodo Joe, I think is what they're called.
So you and I know we know your wife. You could probably really get into that as a hobby, both of you.
Yeah.
Like, let's try this, let's try that. It's
Yeah.
good. I'm sure you and your husband do that. You probably make
yeah.
it. It's probably like somewhat of a marital recreational device. You've got one, right? You guys talk about trying new stuff. And,
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's try this recipe. Well, let's do this with it. Let's do that with it.
Yeah.
Well, next time.
Yeah,
don't
that
do
is
this 'cause
that
this
is a
didn't
cool.
turn out.
That's a cool, like a bonding thing, and I think food is the most sacred and intimate thing people share, because we need it, and when we share it, there's something wonderful that happens between us when we break bread. So that's why it's so much fun to talk about. So, what parting thoughts say you?
Be willing to always try something at least once.
Yeah,
Even if you're not sure you're going to like it, try it.
take a bite.
Take a bite.
Take a bite.
Absolutely. I mean, try smoking things, try grilling things. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to burn something.
Yeah.
You know?
Or your house.
Oh, well, you know.
If you're trying that deep frying stuff.
That's,
No,
for
right,
another,
right.
that's for another podcast.
Yeah.
Jackie, you're probably the most qualified. You're the educated one with the food. So, what say you closing out?
I agree. Just try everything. Try everything once. I mean, if you don't like it, at least you tried it.
All right. Well, I guess my parting thought, I just concur with everyone. It is summertime. We're all enjoying the opportunities we get to have grilled and smoked food, and we will break bread in the future. This has been a great show.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being on here. We'll do another. I got to go cook, too. All right. We'll see you next time.